Why do we have labels on food items? Do we read it correctly? And what type of information is on it to make the right choice? Joining me today, Christine Leighton from Milk SA and the Consumer Education Project. We are talking about dairy once again today, and specifically, I see our discussion will be on yogurts, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Christine, what are the most common misconceptions about milk and dairy?
Morning. Yes, I think the most common misconceptions about milk is that milk is got a lot of fat in it. Sugar is added to milk, and often people think all yogurts are the same. So I'd like to sort of explain that a bit more today, but I also want to assure the listeners that milk is a very regulated category. So what goes into the milk is in a regulation. And the Dairy Standard Agency also monitors our products quite carefully on the shelves. So you can trust what's on the label, you can trust is in the product. So let's explain a bit more about that today.
Yes. So how are dairy products classified? How does that help the consumer?
So firstly, if you look at a dairy product, you will see that it's classified by its fat content. So if you look at full cream milk, there's normally a range within the regulation, but typically on the shelf you'd find it's about 3.4% fat. Now, if I speak of fat or the percentage, then it would be more the gram per 100 grams. Okay, so it's 3.4% fat. Now, because it says full cream, people think it's fat. Okay, but a product anything under 10% is regarded low in fat, not low fat, low in fat. Now, to give you a comparison, if you take a packet of chips, crisps, that's got 36% fat. So if you take a crisp and you look at it, you must know a third of that is just fat. So if you pour yourself a glass of milk of about 250 mils, you're going to get about 8% fat. So if you compare all of that, it's not a lot of fat. So if you're looking at low-fat milk, that is about 1.5. Again, there's a range, and a fat-free is less than 0.5% fat. So that will be clearly marked on the label, and that's how you would choose, depending on what your need is.
Why would consumers say that there is sugar added to milk?
So when you're looking at fat-free, specifically fat-free milk, we often get that comment. So fat-free milk, it's got, if I said it was 0.5% and 3.5 on full cream. So a lot of the fat has been removed. So what is left over? Protein and carbohydrates. So therefore the carbohydrate, which is the lactose, the intrinsic sugar, the sugar that is naturally in product, might be a little bit more in a fat-free product. So some people might say they taste it's a bit sweeter, but it's not really. There's no sugar added, nothing is added to milk. And then the other myth is, of course, just moving on from the sugar, is the vitamin D. So a lot of people tend to think, because from products overseas and in scientific literature, milk is referred to as a source of vitamin D. In South Africa, milk is not fortified with vitamin D, and we have enough sunshine to give us vitamin D. But some long-life products might have added vitamin D fortified, but it was stated clearly on the package.
Mm-hmm. Dairy products are known for its protein content, as far as I know. How can this help consumers to select dairy products?
Starting with the protein content of milk, which is 3.3%. Minimum is 3%, but let's work on 3.3%. That is just sort of a value for you to have in your head. So when you're moving forward and looking at products, that's a good value to look at. So if you're looking at yogurt, for example, a plain yogurt is similar to milk. So it's a plain yogurt is about 2.5 to 2.7%. Once fruit and fruit pulps are added, it can go down to about 2%. But then there's also a product on the market called Dairy Snack, and that has a protein content of about 1.5%. Now you may ask, why is this important? So it is important because firstly it gives you information on the nutritional quality of the product, and also if you want protein, because protein keeps you fuller for longer. So if you're looking for a product with a higher protein content, look at the protein content, and then you choose whatever your need is.
Now, there's a lot of buzz about Greek-style yogurt and double cream yogurt. What is the difference?
So there's been a lot of talk about that, and it's actually a lovely topic because it's also been a lot on our social media. So Greek style yogurt is a yogurt where it's been filtered and some of the water has been removed. So therefore it's kind of thicker, more tangy yogurt, and it would have a higher protein content. But it has a slightly lower fat content than a double cream yogurt. So double cream yogurt would have a protein content of about 3.3%, and then a higher fat content, sometimes over about 6 or 7% fat, because it gives that indulgence, that really creamy taste that you're wanting. But in South Africa, we're not allowed to call it Greek yogurt. A lot of people refer to it as Greek yogurt. It is Greek style. By regulation, it's Greek style yogurt, and it can be called Greek style if it has either been filtered or the culture used in the product is a link with Greece. So you'll find if you're looking at the Greek style yogurt, you'll always also see the double cream on the package. So it's got to say Greek style yogurt. So again, it all depends on what your needs are. If you want more satiety, choose the Greek style because you're going to get more protein. If you want just indulgence, choose the double cream.
Now, Christine, many of us, if you look at the reality, is many people either don't read the label or they don't really know how to use the label. So perhaps we could end off with a few tips.
So I would say if you're looking at a product, so I've really reduced this to about 2 or 3 things. So there's a lot on the label. But for you to choose your product that is to meet your nutritional needs, I would say first of all, look at your protein content. That will guide you what your needs are, or if you want to have a bit more satiety. Don't fear fat because it's 3.4% in milk and maybe a little bit more in double cream yogurt. And fat adds taste, that's for sure. And then trust the product. It is regulated in South Africa. We've got good regulation, a good category in the food industry. So trust the product, trust the information that's on the label, and you will buy a product that is great tasting and to your needs.
Well, that's the word, well regulated. That's all about our dairy products. Read your label. There's a reason for it and make good choices.